Welcome to the sixth video of the Apache Beam series. In this video, we will learn how to handle exception in our Apache Beam code. So as usual, we will open our GitHub desktop and switch to the branch for this lecture, which would be 1.2 text IO read transform write exception handling. So we're going to switch it and then click on the fetch origin to make sure we have up-to-date code. So after updating the branch, we will check what kind of change is being made for this branch. To do that, we're going to use the preview pull request feature of GitHub desktop. Let's click on that, and to compare it, we're going to pick our previous branch, which is feature 1.1, and this will show there is some change in the readme file, which is not important. In the POM file, we update the version number, and we did some change on this two file. The text IO pipeline file is our main file. So we did some change on our extract part, we did some change on our transform part, and the load part is same, but there is some actually new step is being added. And in our transformation class, there is some change in the logic. So we will go through this thing. So let's open our IDE and update the code, and then let's go through the code. So in our IDE, we can see our source code is up to date with the latest branch. But just to make sure, we will do two process. One is the refresh this code base. You can see it's updating. Another one is actually right click and Maven and update project, and click on the force update and snapshot. This will also update all of our dependency if there is any new dependencies being added. So cool, it's up to date. So now let's go to our text IO pipeline, which is this file. Okay, so on the extract step, we can see our file got changed. So we're going to have a look on our file, and we will actually figure out what we're trying to do. So we have our file in our desktop, but we have to upload this file into our console. So let's open our cloud storage, go to the bucket. Inside the bucket, we have the crosscut data bucket, and we have a data flow folder. This is the place where we're going to upload it, but we have to change our path as well. So let's copy this path and update the name, and this is the file we're gonna upload, which is actually in the desktop. Let's rename it to xylo.csv and upload this thing over here. Nice, this is the file got uploaded. So now let's have a look on our file, which is in the desktop. I'm going to open it in Sublime Text. Okay, so let's have a look on the file itself. So the file is a list of houses information. So we can see there are like 20 houses here. So the first column is for the index. Second column is for the square feet size of the house. Third column is the number of bed. Fourth column is the number of bath. Fifth column is the postal code for that house, and the sixth column is the year it was built, and the last one is actually the price of the house. So our goal is to actually go through each of this line and calculate the price per square feet for each house. But we can see for some of the houses there is like unknown square feet. So as this is an unknown, so this is gonna, if we try to divide the price with the square feet, it should throw some error, right? So we're gonna handle this error. We're gonna handle this unknown error because we're gonna actually we'll try to cast it, and it will throw some exception, and we will actually put this log for this 3 row into a different file. So we will see how can we do it in the code actually. So let's go to our code. Okay, so in the code we can see in the first part we are loading the file, that's xylo.csv, and then the second part over here in the transform step we can see we are using a p collection tuple. So earlier we used to use p collection, but here we are not using p collection anymore, so we are using p collection tuple. So you can consider p collection as a list, but p collection tuple you can consider it as a map. So what is happening? So we are calling this same thing, the transformation class, and we are actually passing two tag. The first tag is we're calling valid tag, and this is actually a tuple tag. It's a part of this transformation class. So if we go inside this class by doing a control click, we'll see we have defined two tag here, valid data tag and failure data tag, and these are a tuple tag. So you can add more tags, but we're gonna use the valid data tag as our valid data, and the failure data tag as our the data which got failed. So now let's get back to that class. So here you can see this is the first parameter with output tag, and we are defining the first one as our valid data set, and the second one, this is a tuple tag list where we can actually pass multiple tag, but in this case we're just sending failure. So now let's see what's happening in our transformation class. So inside the transformation class we are grabbing the every row, and after that we're splitting it from the comma, so we have seen it like every line is separated by comma, and then we are getting the square footage from the second element, and then we're getting the price from the 6 plus 1 at the 7th element, and then to calculate the price per square feet we're doing price divided by square feet. Cool. And then we're creating a message we're calling zip code. So the fourth index, the fifth item is the zip code. House is cost this much per square feet, and we're putting it into a log that we will see, and then we are outputting this message. Now we are adding a tag here, so earlier we didn't do that. So this tag is basically saying this is a valid data format. So now we have a catch block here too. So what's gonna happen? So when there is an unknown, so see, like this is the percent is actually it's considering everything as integer, right? As we have seen, but for this three row is a string. So when it will try to parse this item, and it's going to be a string, then it will throw an exception, and then it will be caught over here. And this is the place where we basically print zip code this thing, house size is unknown, and then we're putting it into the log and also putting it back in the output, but this time we're putting it at the failure data tag. So in this way I just show like two case, like so we're putting back this messages with two tag, but you can also have like multiple tag with multiple clause. In this way you can split your whole thing, and this is gonna be a part of the p collection tuple, and we'll see how we're gonna read it back. So everything is gonna be saved in the p collection tuple, and as I mentioned earlier, p collection tuple is actually a kind of map, and this is how we actually get this thing back. So transformation is the transform tuple.get, and then we pass this valid tag, and this actually give us a p collection. So when it's p collection, then we can put an apply, right? But before that we're setting a coder, because we know this is a string type, so that we're setting the string coder. And then this is another step where we're basically like saving that output into our xylo-result file, and in the same way we're gonna actually get the failure data tag. So this is another p collection which is actually tagged with this tag. So this will give us a p collection back, and then set coder the same thing, but for this result set we're gonna actually unknown square feet data. So this step is gonna write it to a different file. So we will have two different file which contains the valid data, and kind of like unknown square feet data. So yeah, rest of the parts are same. Now we will actually try to build and deploy it and see the result. So before doing the build, we have to make sure some of the things are correct, like the bucket name. So we will update the bucket name for all the places where we have mentioned it. That's good. And now we will go to our repository and copy this to command into a file. And we'll update it. Okay, so we have updated the commands. So it has actually the updated template name, the jar file, the location of the main class. And now we will run it. So for running, we're gonna open a console and do the authentication at first. Gcloud auth login. We will copy this link, open it in the browser, and select our account, allow it. Great, so we are authenticated. This is good. So now we will switch to our folder. So we can just open a CMD here, and then we have to build the project. Command is maven clean install. Okay, so the build is done. Now we will open our text editor to grab the command and then run it. Okay, so the template build is done. So now let's go to our artifact repository to make sure it is there. So for there, we will click on that artifact repository and click on the repositories. And it has this new repository that we created and the data flow. And it says the latest build is being done 1 minute ago, so we're good. So now we will copy the next command, which is the run command, and run it. So the command executed. So if we go back to our data flow, jobs, and we see there is a pipeline got started. So we will see the graph eventually very soon. So the pipeline ran successfully. So we can see it actually extracted, it transformed it, and it actually split the data into 2 parts. And one is the error part and another is the successful part. So if we click on each of the steps, we can see this step read 20 data. So transform also process 20 data, and it split the data into 2 different parts. One part is that it has 3 data, which is the failed data, and this part has actually 17 data, which is successful data. And it actually eventually it should be writing this data into 2 different files. So if you want to see it, let's go to our storage in the crosscut data bucket and data flow, and here we have Xylo result and Xylo unknown. So if I click on the result one, let's open it, and we can see all of the data is being written properly. So we have the price per square feet for all of these houses is written over here. And if we go back to the other file, which is the unknown file, and this one actually has the zip code has size is unknown for all of these 3. So yeah, so it perfectly worked. So that is how you actually can handle it. So just want to add one thing real quick. So basically, so we write the code to split two different things, but here you can actually split it into multiple branch actually based on your business logic. So in our case, we just added two clause in our transform section, which is we had a try block. If there's any exception, then we catch it. But you can actually use if-else logic to actually tag a specific data, and then you can take action based on that. So yeah, that is the end of this lecture. If you want to learn more about the Apache Beam, I have some other lectures in this series, so you may want to go through those lectures to get some more idea. Thank you, and see you in the next lecture.